drop in the ocean.
Zombies, rotting, relentless, and somehow still more coordinated than most people before coffee. Today, we're shambling through a lineup of 30 zombie flicks that'll have you questioning every cough and side-eyeing your neighbor. This isn't just another lazy top 10 list, we're going full outbreak mode. From cult classics to chaotic gore fests, all ranked by IMDb like it's the Apocalypse Olympics. So grab a snack, not brains preferably. Reinforce your couch instead of the doors, and prepare for a marathon of the undead. Let's dig up some favorites, literally. World War Z, 2013. Brad Pitt vs. the End of the World. A global zombie outbreak is tearing through cities like a viral wrecking ball. And Pitt's ex-UN investigator is the unlucky guy sent to globe-trot his way toward a solution. The zombies don't shuffle, they sprint, pile up like ants, and make airport security look relaxing by comparison. It's big, loud, and moves fast, with enough tension to make you rethink air travel and rooftop escapes. Think less slow-burn horror, more action thriller with teeth, lots of them.
I'm just a drop in the ocean.
Train to Busan, 2016. A dad just trying to get his daughter to Busan ends up with the worst commute in cinematic history. Zombies, chaos, and zero legroom. What starts as a normal high-speed train ride turns into a non-stop apocalypse with biting commentary, literally. Between sprinting undead, moral breakdowns, and passengers who somehow manage to be worse than the zombies, this Korean thriller delivers pure mayhem with surprising emotional weight. It's got heart, gore, and enough screaming to make you rethink public transportation. Cargo, 2017. Set in the haunting emptiness of the Australian outback, Cargo swaps out frantic zombie chases for something slower, sadder, and a lot more human. A father, bitten and on the clock, has just 48 hours to find someone, anyone, to care for his baby daughter before he turns into something that definitely shouldn't be holding a child. It's a quiet, heartbreaking survival story wrapped in dust, decay, and desperation. Less bloodbath, more gut punch. Bring tissues. 28 days later, 2002. Guy wakes up from a coma, stumbles out of the hospital, and finds London looking like a ghost town. No traffic, no people, just a highly contagious rage virus and a whole lot of bad news. This isn't your standard zombie flick. It's gritty, fast, and emotionally bleak, with sprinting infected and survivors barely holding it together. It's less undead fun and more civilization is dead, now what? Bonus points for making empty city streets feel more terrifying than any jump scare. Army of the Dead, 2021. In Zack Snyder's chaotic blend of genres, a group of mercenaries is sent into a zombie-overrun Las Vegas to pull off a high-stakes heist. Because obviously nothing says great idea, like cracking a vault surrounded by undead with attitude. The zombies aren't your usual brain-dead shufflers either. They're fast, organized, and weirdly strategic. It's more explosive action than traditional horror, packed with wild visuals, over-the-top violence, and the occasional undead tiger just to keep things spicy. Alive, 2020. A Korean gamer wakes up to a zombie apocalypse and does what any modern guy would. Locks the door, checks Wi-Fi, and starts live streaming his survival panic. Trapped in his apartment with dwindling food, no plan, and too many undead neighbors, things get grim fast, until he spots another survivor across the complex. It's a socially distant horror story with drones, phones, and just enough emotional punch to make you care between zombie jump scares. Modern problems, Undead Solutions. The Sadness, 2021, IMDb 6.4. This isn't your average zombie outbreak. It's a full-blown nightmare soaked in blood and chaos. In The Sadness, a virus rips through Taiwan, turning people not just violent, but gleefully sadistic. We're talking next-level brutality that makes most horror films look like bedtime stories. It's fast, relentless, and completely unhinged. Disturbing? Absolutely. But if you're into extreme horror that doesn't flinch for a second, this one grabs you by the throat and never lets go. Definitely not date night material. Dawn of the Dead, 1978, IMDb 7.9 survivors hole up in a shopping mall during a zombie apocalypse, and somehow that's both smart and deeply depressing. George Romero's classic isn't just about avoiding the undead, it's a full-blown roast of consumer culture, with a side of existential dread. The zombies shuffle, the people argue, and the subtext hits harder than a crowbar to the head. Still one of the smartest horror films ever made, even with all that 70s hair.
I'm just a drop in the ocean.
Zombieland, 2009, IMDb 7.6. Imagine the end of the world, but with snappy one-liners, a rulebook for survival, and more Twinkie jokes than anyone asked for. Zombieland is a blood-splattered buddy comedy wrapped in a zombie apocalypse. It follows a socially awkward guy, a cowboy with anger issues, and two con artist sisters as they road trip through undead America. There's gore, there's heart, there's an unforgettable cameo, and yes, cardio really is rule number one. It's a survival guide with jokes, and it somehow works. Maggie, 2015, IMDb 5.6. Yes, that's Arnold Schwarzenegger, and no, he's not mowing down zombies with a shotgun. Maggie is a quiet, somber twist on the genre, where the apocalypse creeps in slowly as a father watches his infected daughter fade away. It's less action, more heartbreak, with a heavy focus on grief, love, and the agonizing process of saying goodbye. Think zombies, but make it emotional, and moody, and surprisingly understated for a movie with Arnold in it. REC, 2007, IMDb 7.4. A Spanish horror gem that proves shaky cam can be terrifying when done right. A TV reporter and her cameraman tag along with firefighters on a routine call, only to get locked inside an apartment building where residents are going full rabid. What starts as curiosity turns into pure chaos as a mysterious virus spreads and escape becomes very much not an option. It's claustrophobic, brutal, and doesn't let up, even in the final night vision-soaked moments. Think of it as journalism meets absolute panic. Shawn of the Dead, 2004. IMDb 7.9, it's the end of the world, and Shawn just wants to get his life together, preferably at the pub. This British cult classic mixes zombies with deadpan humor, awkward relationships, and the kind of emotional gut punches you didn't see coming between jokes about crisps and cricket bats. Sure, it's a comedy, but it's also a surprisingly sharp look at friendship, adulthood, and how long you can ignore the apocalypse if you're hungover enough. The Night of the Living Dead, 1968, IMDb 7.8. This is where it all began. George A. Romero's low-budget black-and-white nightmare introduced the world to the flesh-eating undead and redefined horror on a shoestring. It's raw, bleak, and way more unsettling than you'd expect from a film where everyone looks like they wandered in from a theater class. With its unflinching tone and shocker of an ending, it wasn't just a zombie movie, it was a cultural gut punch that still holds up, even decades, and a million reboots later. One Cut of the Dead, 2017, IMDb 7.6. What starts as a hilariously chaotic, low-budget zombie movie turns into, well, something way smarter than it has any right to be. A film crew is shooting a cheap horror flick when an actual zombie outbreak crashes the set, or so it seems. Without spoiling the twist, which is half the fun, this movie pulls off a genre flip so clever, it makes you want to rewatch it immediately. It's not just a zombie film, it's a love letter to filmmaking, failure, and sheer creative chaos. Stick with it, seriously. The Girl with All the Gifts, 2016, IMDb 6.6. In a post-apocalyptic world overrun by fungus-fueled zombies, humanity's last hope turns out to be a polite, intelligent little girl who could eat your face off. Balancing horror with sharp social commentary, this one dives into ethics, evolution, and what it actually means to be human. It's creepy, layered, and way smarter than your average zombie flick. Plus, it makes fungal infections look way more cinematic than they have any right to be.
I'm just a drop in the ocean.
I Am Legend, 2007, IMDb 7.2. Will Smith versus mutant zombie, whatever those things, are in a deserted New York City. He's the last man standing, with a dog, thankfully, trying to survive, stay sane, and maybe reverse the apocalypse with some homegrown science. The city's empty by day and crawling with nightmare fuel by night. It's suspenseful, lonely, and hits harder than expected, especially when the dog gets involved. Less about the monsters, more about what it means to be human when there's no one left to talk to. 28 weeks later, 2007, IMDb 7.0. 6 months after the rage virus turned London into a screaming mess, the city's getting cleaned up and repopulated, which in horror logic basically guarantees things will go horribly wrong. And they do. Fast. The sequel cranks up the chaos with a brutal opening scene, infected sprinting like they're late for something, and moral decisions that spiral into full-blown disaster. It's tense, unforgiving, and proves that when it comes to rage outbreaks, round 2 is just as merciless as the first. The Crazies, 2010. IMDb 6.5. Small town, quiet lives. And then, bam, people start losing their minds and attacking each other like it's Black Friday with axes. Turns out the water supply's got a little something extra in it. And the result is a tight, tense mix of body horror, chaos, and government cleanup teams with zero chill. It's not flashy, but it hits hard, with paranoia creeping in just as fast as the violence. A solid, under-the-radar gem for anyone who likes their horror with a side of trust no one. Dead Snow, 2009, IMDb 6.3. Because regular zombies weren't enough, Dead Snow gives you undead Nazi soldiers rising from the snowy depths of Norway to ruin a perfectly good cabin trip. A group of students just wants a peaceful getaway, but ends up in a bloody battle against fascist corpses with a grudge. It's gory, ridiculous, and fully aware of how over-the-top it is. Chainsaws, entrails, and horror cliches all thrown into a blender. Not quite a comedy, but definitely the kind of horror that makes you laugh through the winces. It Stains the Sands Red, 2017, IMDb 5.5. One woman, one zombie, one never-ending desert. That's the setup, and somehow it works. Stranded outside Vegas, a woman with a rough past ends up being slowly, stubbornly pursued by a single undead guy who just won't quit. It's low budget, weirdly funny, and surprisingly emotional, turning what looks like a one-note chase into a slow burn character study with dirt, regret, and just the right amount of rotting flesh. Zombie minimalism, but make it personal. Day of the Dead, 1985. IMDb 7.1. Romero's third zombie outing dials down the chaos and cranks up the tension. In a bunker, underground, where scientists and soldiers are slowly losing their grip as the undead rule the surface. It's less about zombie guts, though there's plenty of that too, and more about the breakdown of human trust, power struggles, and what happens when you're stuck with people you'd never survive a group project with. Grim, talky, and packed with some of the best practical effects the genre's ever seen. Not a crowd pleaser, more like a slow descent into despair, in a good way. Land of the Dead, 2005, IMDb 6.2. By 2005, Romero figured if zombies can walk, they might as well learn. In Land of the Dead, the undead start getting smarter while the living get dumber, holed up in a walled-off city where the rich party in a skyscraper and everyone else fights for scraps. It's part zombie flick, part class war, with gore. There's plenty of action, decaying faces, and just enough social commentary to remind you that the real monsters might be the guys in charge. Subtle? Not really. Entertaining? Absolutely.
I'm just a drop in the ocean.
Planet Terror, 2007. IMDb 7.0. Part of the Grindhouse double feature, Planet Terror is what happens when Robert Rodriguez says, "Let's make everything explode, bleed, or mutate." The result? A gloriously trashy zombie flick with infected townspeople, machine gun legs, melting faces, and dialogue that's either brilliant or completely unhinged. No in between. It's messy, loud, and proud of it. Pure, chaotic fun wrapped in fake film scratches and enough gore to stain your popcorn. The Battery, 2012, IMDb 6.3, 2 ex-baseball players, 1 zombie apocalypse, 0 budget, and somehow it works. The Battery ditches the usual gore fest for a slower, more introspective ride through the end of the world, focusing on boredom, loneliness, and the weird friendship between 2 guys who barely tolerate each other. There are zombies, sure, but they're mostly background noise to the real story. What happens to your mind when survival is the only thing left on the schedule? Quiet, gritty, and surprisingly affecting for a film that probably costs less than a fast food combo. Resident Evil, 2002, IMDb 6.6. The movie that launched 1,000 sequels and about 1 million zombie kills. In Resident Evil, a team of heavily armed commandos gets trapped in a secret underground lab run by a shady megacorp where things have gone very wrong. Think undead scientists, mutant dogs, and a homicidal AI with a British accent. It's sleek, chaotic, and full of early 2000s action energy, slow-mo kicks, laser grid deaths, and just enough plot to connect the explosions. Not deep, but definitely fun. Rabid, 2019, IMDb 5.2. After a freak accident and some sketchy experimental surgery, a woman finds herself craving blood like it's the new keto diet. And unfortunately, she's contagious. Rabid is a modern, blood-slicked reimagining of Cronenberg's 1977 body horror classic, swapping out the subtle dread for a glossier, gorier vibe. It's fashion, flesh, and infection all tangled together, with a stylish edge and a steadily rising body count. Beauty may be pain, but here it also comes with fangs. Pontipool, 2008, IMDb 6.6, Forget Bites. This zombie virus spreads through words. Set almost entirely in a small-town radio station, Pontipool turns language into a weapon and paranoia into the main event. As the host and crew try to make sense of bizarre reports coming in, the tension builds without a single rotting corpse in sight, at least for a while. It's smart, unsettling, and refreshingly weird. A zombie film where talking might actually kill you. So yeah, maybe keep it down. The Night Eats the World, 2018, IMDb 6.0. Guy goes to a party, crashes on the couch, and wakes up to find Paris has gone full zombie apocalypse. No croissants, no phone service, just silence and corpses. The Night Eats the World isn't your typical zombie flick. It's quiet, slow, and soaked in isolation. More about what happens to your mind when you're the last one left than about dodging undead attacks. It's like Castaway, but with zombies and fewer volleyballs, haunting, lonely, and weirdly peaceful. Wormwood Road of the Dead, 2014, IMDb 6.2. Imagine Mad Max crashed into a zombie outbreak and nobody had a budget. That's Wormwood. This Australian grindhouse ride delivers homemade armor, zombie-fueled engines, yes, really, and chaotic shootouts that feel like they were filmed with pure adrenaline. It's gritty, scrappy, and delightfully unhinged, with just enough absurdity to keep things fun without totally going off the rails. Bloody, bonkers, and proud of it. And that's the end of the world, for now. 30 zombie films, ranging from brainy to brain-eating, all ready to rot your screen in the best way possible. Whether you're into grim survival stories, emotional gut punches, or undead chaos with a side of chainsaws, there's something in here to ruin your sleep schedule. Go ahead, argue with your friends about what counts as a real zombie. Rewatch the ones you love, and maybe even survive a few new ones. Just remember, if the apocalypse starts tomorrow, rule number 1 is still cardio.